earn money, save money, and buy things. Living beyond the economic cycle is impossible. What trends are dictated by world markets and how does it affect consumers? Watch it in People and Economy.
Experts anticipate that within 5 years, approximately 60% of humanity will live in urban areas, and 35 more megacities are expected to appear in the world by 2025. According to experts, the population growth will raise the need in creation of new workplaces and enterprises, including social ones. As distinguished from common profit-oriented businesses, social entrepreneurship is rather focused on solving social problems. And there are people in our society who are ready to clear this barrier. They say that they don't want only to earn money, but they also want to help people in solving some social issues. Nowadays, social businesses are relevant in all parts of the world. For instance, more than 60,000 enterprises of this type are functioning in the UK. Annually, they bring £25 billion in profit to the country's budget. Meanwhile, the profit from social enterprises in the US reaches almost 7% of the country's GDP. Social entrepreneurs work in different areas. Among them are education, public health and services oriented on helping elderly people and children. 5 years ago, Anna Shelepova with her husband constructed their first skating rink in the courtyard of an apartment building. By now they are opening a 6th such rink. 2 years ago, Anna won a prize at the competition for social entrepreneurs. And soon after that, she headed a social fund. At first we built a skating rink in our courtyard and our children started skating and playing sports every day. Then next year we made a rink once again and saw there so many children enjoying skating. Then we understood that we found a group of people who wish to go in for sports but who have no possibility to do that. The increasing number of mass sports lovers among children made Anna think about opening hockey clubs in each courtyard with such skating rinks. And there were domestic athletes and parents of young hockey players who helped her in purchasing proper inventory and attracting trainers for work. The prices here are very low. For comparison, the average price of skating classes and fitness centers is 4,000 to 5,000 tenge, while here training session costs 1,000 tenge. We need this money in order to pay salaries to our coaches and to maintain our skating rinks. Children are not the only ones who get assistance from Kazakhstani businessmen. Older persons also have not been overlooked. Some entrepreneurs open social hairdressers, salons and bakeries where the elderly can get some assistance and buy bread at a reduced price or even for free. In the time of high technologies, elder people often face difficulties. Sometimes, lack of computer skills results in their dismissal. So special schools have been established where teachers are students and students are old people. Along with new technologies, the elderly are also explained the principles of modern market development. These are adult people who could not adapt to the market economy, who have no idea how to manage their finances, develop their business and so on. And students teach them to do all that. Young tutors also do not forget about people with disabilities and even teach them the elements of entrepreneurship and how to operate electronic equipment. They work a lot with handicapped people who have some skills and desire to build up their own business, who can do something with their hands but do not know how to sell it on the market. While some students help disabled people to become successful entrepreneurs, others try to find them jobs. For example, a special cafe was recently opened where all waiters are blind. There is also a so-called training cafe where customers are served by handicapped people. This is a way how to solve social issues. In Kazakhstan, entrepreneurs with special needs are offered free business training sponsored by social funds. Competitions are organized where winners get various grants for purchasing equipment and consumable materials. And it should be noted that contests are not the only events where handicapped entrepreneurs can get assistance. Let's say that a person decided to sew something at home, so it is necessary to write an application that he or she needs a sewing machine or some consumer materials. We are seeking for sponsors among commercial enterprises and partners of our foundation who could render this type of assistance. Statistically, 30% of Kazakhstani entrepreneurs with disabilities specialize in sewing, as many of them work in the sphere of repair and needlework. 25% are IT specialists and lawyers. The rest are involved in other spheres of activity. The term socially responsible business was introduced in European countries in the 19th century. Italy was the pioneer in this area. It was the first to establish social bank and a prototype of modern emergency medical services. Currently, more than 20,000 enterprises are functioning in the country. Their annual revenue exceeds 10 billion euros. Environmental projects are becoming especially popular. One of them is related to the construction of furniture from industrial waste. Another one is repairing of old bicycles. Workshops are opened in local prisons and their inmates are motivated to do various jobs. The culture of European countries implies that entrepreneurship should have a social character. Because of that, European entrepreneurs are quite successful in solving social issues. There are more than 60 socially oriented enterprises registered in the UK. Their turnover exceeds £25 billion. These organizations employ almost 1 million people from socially vulnerable groups. For example, an owner of the restaurant chain suggests so-called problem teenagers not only to earn money but also complete cooking courses.
So we're going to put a proof at 40 degrees. 40 degrees? Yeah. And it's going to go for about 35 minutes when it doubles in size.
Aging of population is the main problem of European countries, which was nicknamed a silver economy. Even now, the number of elderly people living in the region exceeds 200 million. Their purchasing power is low in comparison with young people. However, experts are sure that senior citizens are capable of bringing millions of euros into countries' budgets. As a result, some states are actively introducing Geronto technologies and Geronto marketing, which imply the development and selling of various goods for people aged over 60. European governments subsidize all the enterprises involved in addressing social issues. Cooperatives and foundations which support social business are being established. In the meantime, goods and food products produced by socially oriented enterprises or disabled people have a special marking. The surveys show that almost 70% of Europeans prefer buying social goods instead of commercial ones. And what is more, they're ready to pay for it up to 15% extra. In Korea, China, India, Thailand and other Asian countries, special attention is given to the development of small businesses. Around 70% of people are employed in this sphere. First of all, they provide with jobs socially vulnerable groups of people. It is social entrepreneurship which helps them to find basic or additional earnings. Apart from that, entrepreneurship is a profitable and self-sustained sector, which forms part of budget revenues, tax payments, as well as contributes to the country's GDP. Only in China, there are more than 30 million private enterprises, which form 60% of the state budget. Hence, microfinance credit organizations are now very popular in many countries of the region. They help people with low incomes to establish their own business. For example, farmers are assisted in building their own production workshops and getting access to the local market. A banker from Bangladesh was the first who started giving loans with low interest rates. Later, his project made him a Nobel Prize winner. This is the brightest example of social entrepreneurship when a common banker and businessman in a common village lended $24 to a group of women who later arranged their own business and returned him his money. After that, an idea came to him to establish a bank which would enable people to open their businesses. Unlike other commercial banks, it offered beginning businessmen low-interest loans. US is the world leader in number of socially oriented enterprises. There are more than 150,000 of them throughout the country. They employ 10 million people and their revenues nears $1.5 trillion. The main area of activity of such facilities is the assistance for socially vulnerable groups of population. The US perhaps has the greatest experience in social entrepreneurship. There are a lot of funds which support social entrepreneurship. These funds are seeking for people with new ideas who want to solve various social issues, who are ready to finance social projects and render assistance of any kind. The US is considered a birthplace of trade schools for the unemployed and other vulnerable groups. Thus, special institutions in the state of Detroit help mothers with many children to become familiar with sewing or culinary art. Men are taught to construct furniture or growing vegetables. People are trained by volunteers who instead of salary get a state scholarship to the amount of $900. Thanks to such schools, US shops started selling social goods and food products with a label Made in Detroit. Despite higher prices, the demand for them is very high. A share of profits from such trade is sent to charity funds. There are a lot of social organizations which assume problems of the poor, homeless, children and so on. People who work in such organizations make contributions, organize charitable campaigns. For example, they give food to people who are unable to pay for it. Social innovations and projects focus on facilitating people's lives and improving the environment. Based on preliminary calculations, within the next 3 years, such projects are expected to increase the world market size several times, up to $4 trillion. The social network in India, oriented on helping people in remote areas to get medical assistance, can be considered the best example of such projects. Currently, it employs 14,000 providers who attend 70 million people. Remarkably, this system proved to be not only very effective but economic. Thus, it helped to reduce the price of a medical consultations by $6. Innovations in the area of medicine are most in demand and account for 45%. They are followed by innovations focused on solving environmental issues. 30% of projects belong to this area. Mobile applications like online shops or taxi services oriented on saving people's time close the top 3 with 25%. Social entrepreneurship is a noble cause. This is not only a cash-consuming but sometimes non-profitable business. Sometimes it happens so that facilities lack proper development or even close due to financial problems. Because of that, socially oriented businessmen are assisted by ordinary people. Sometimes, small amounts of money can be enough for sponsoring social projects. Nowadays, crowd investments or group investing is gaining popularity. Thus, even $100 invested in this project can ensure a reasonable profit to both the entrepreneur and depositor. The minimum deposit amount in crowd investing begins from $15. However, owing to such investments, the size of the crowdfunding market currently reaches $9 billion. Helping social entrepreneurs and becoming a part of such projects is possible through special websites. Nowadays, there are about 400 of them throughout the world. Mobile applications designed for money transfer are on the second place. Charitable development funds are in the third position. More than 500 million people throughout the world are suffering from depression. Isolation is considered its main cause. Presently, psychologists are not the only people who try to tackle this issue. Thus, a social festival focused on fighting this phenomenon was launched in London 2 years ago. The flash mob consists of opening field kitchens, book markets, and other spots where each of participants can find an interest partner. According to the organizers' plan, this event should help Londoners to become more sociable, meet new friends, and get rid of the sense of isolation.